is Ashley Craig with my persuasive speech to inform my audience of having an experienced military. And this is with Ms. Teresa Moore, and I do have some visuals on the military footage, which will be displayed right here. And now we're going to be displaying the 7 audience members. Hello, and I'm going to go ahead and begin this speech persuading my audience. I've been maintaining an experienced military. I will go ahead and start with, is the war becoming more or less deadly, and what are the benefits of an experienced military? States VOA News, President Bush has said the last 3 years have tested America's resolve with hard days and setbacks, but the U.S. troops have changed their approach to reflect the hard realities on the ground. More fighting and sacrifice will be required to achieve victory, and for some, this temptation of retreat and abandon our commitment is strong, said Mr. Bush. Yet there is no peace, there is no honor, and there is no security in retreat. Mr. Bush says the U.S. troops will finish the mission, and by defeating terrorists in Iraq, they will make America a stronger place. What does having an experienced military prevent? The Heritage Foundation states a strong military is essential to keeping America free, safe, and prosperous. Budgets must be adequate to maintain a trained and ready force, support current operations, and prepare the military for future missions. Without funds to pay for all 3 of these priorities, the armed forces will become hollow as it is out. Congress must commit to spending 4% of the GDP on national defense. This level of spending is consistent with the requirements of global superpower to defend its vital national interests around the world. It is also the level of spending that will include the Department of Defense to field the critical capabilities required to meet a range of threats in the 21st century, including space and missile defenses to counter the threats of ballistic missiles, adequate ground troops to provide boots to the ground to respond to disasters at home and operations overseas, and a Navy and Air Force that cannot be bested by any other nation in the world. The amount of American deaths has decreased on a large amount. Since the beginning of the war in September, we did have an average of around 65 soldiers dying per day, and now it is on an average of about 1.2 a day, and the lowest we have had is at a 31 per month. The President does continue to come up with new plans to improve our military and become aware of the enemy's next move. President Obama does say that the enemy has gone to the ground. By Sunday, 4 into the first military test of President Barack Obama's new strategy for Afghanistan, the Marine Task Force little resistance except in Mian Passage, where a U.S. officer said 200 battled about 40 Taliban. The military is very confident with success. Although the Democratic Party feels we have contributed more than what we need to in Iraq and Iran, we have made it possible to clear nuclear bombs and keep America safe, which even the Democratic Party does feel is the most beneficial at this point. And as a closing argument, all of the above states that the military intelligence of the United States continues to improve and outsmart the enemy and protect our country within all means. Their experience continues to grow with new technology and education, and the United States military will always be successful in protecting us with their growing experience. And now I am going to go ahead and ask a few questions regarding this matter, and we're going to go ahead and ask for any questions with anyone.
What do you say to the Democrats that say that we can sustain this war and we can defend America even with a cut budget? by spending less money, we can still protect America? What do you say to this, Democrats?
As stated in my speech, we do have to at least spend 4% of our gross domestic, which means, you know, we cannot cut any of our costs with the military. We have to always maintain, you know, a strong military, and that does not mean cutting any kind of budget whatsoever, because then it does start cutting costs everywhere. So sustaining some kind of an payment towards this it's not something that the U.S. needs to do, and it's not a smart move on our end. Anyone else? I didn't have a question.
I'm trying to think. I had a question. Case has a question.
Do you feel that sometimes the UN or other countries can somewhat levy the cost?
Are you saying in regards to helping us, or I'm sorry, your question?
Not necessarily helping us in Iraq, but in more internationally appealing areas like Afghanistan.
Okay, so you're saying that
help in Afghanistan, not in U.S. wars, but more wars that have the interests of everyone, like Afghanistan.
Okay, so you're saying it's more appealing to be in Afghanistan? I'm sorry, I'm not understanding your question.
Do you think the UN should help in paying
help all other
not
countries?
paying, but do you think the UN should their participation should be increased in order to prevent the U.S. from having to spend so much?
Oh, I definitely think that they should, because we're protecting them just as much as we're protecting ourselves, because it seems like we are constantly protecting everyone in the world. So I definitely feel like they should contribute to the spending as well as send some of their troops over there, and that is definitely something that I feel should happen for sure. Spending and both troops.
So do you think the U.S. should boost their support of the UN at the same time and increase money of their own endeavors?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the costs that are spent are being used properly or worthwhile for how long we've been in there, what we've accomplished, what we've lost?
I definitely do feel like everything that we have done, our experienced military, there's no price that should be set on our safety as Americans. There shouldn't be a set cost on what we're spending to protect our country, because when it comes down to it, if we ever hit with a nuclear bomb, well, our economy will be completely gone and we'll no longer have money to even worry about at that point. So however much money you spend, there shouldn't be a price on it, and everything that we have spent has been spent definitely for a good reason. And that concludes my speech, and thank you for listening.